Okay, so like I said last night, I was gonna get the next chapter out the next day. Today's Wednesday, yeah, a little bit late, um, but I want to stick to what I had said. So 457. The way we had left off with last chapter. Last chapter was a pretty good chapter. It ended up going a lot longer than I thought it was gonna be. So that's good. We got a lot more of the story, but basically, we didn't really get a whole lot more information regarding the history of the Asuras or whatever. But we know that Kezis is like one. He's a number. How would you call it? He's one of many former Kezis. Like he's like Kezis the 457th or whatever. We don't know what the number is. So it makes me think about how long the Asuras actually have been living, because we know that their typical lifespan is thousands of years. And so if he is number 400 or something like that, too many to count, then their civilization could have possibly been around for hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions. So that's something to think about. But what up, though, Antonio? Anyway, so that's how that had. So that's how that chapter had went. He had went to their like the ceremony, the burial type of thing. Well, it wasn't a burial; it was more like a ceremony. And so he met like some of the family of the what is it? What was it? The Asclepius clan? No. It's the Mantis, Myatis, something like that. She was the one woman who had died, or the one Asura who had died, one of the dragons, I believe. I forget what her clan name was, but he ended up going there, meeting the one dude, Vurin, I think is what his name is. He ended up meeting him, and so he seems to be really interesting. He doesn't hide his age like how some of the other Asuras do, like Kezis, for example. But anyway, so we'll get into chapter 457, and I was told that it's a possibility that this chapter might piss me off, so I hope it doesn't. But we starting off with Chul, so that's cool because I don't think we ever had a Chul perspective, so I'm looking forward to that. So without any more delays, let's just get into the chapter. So 457, collisions. Chul. Is that Asclepius? I can't pronounce these goddamn names. But anyway, so I sank back against the wall, breathing heavily and enjoying the feel of sweat pouring down my face. The cavern smelled of ozone and crushed granite, and the resounding noise of our training was still ringing in my ears. So he's training with somebody else. Byron leaned forward. Okay, so he's doing some training with Byron. All right. Byron leaned forward and rested. I wonder what he thinks about Byron, like how strong they are. Like, is he like, okay, you're a worthy challenger, or is he like, okay, you're like, you're okay, but you're not like, you ain't gonna hold up or some shit. I wonder what he thinks about their power levels now. So Byron leaned forward and rested his hand on his knee, sweat dripping from his nose, each breath laborious. I think I said laborious. 20 feet to his left, the little one, Micah, threw herself on her back. So did they all like fight him at the same time? The little one, Micah, threw herself on her back, huffing and puffing. Only Varay stood straight, which is another example of why Varay is the strongest out of all of the lances. Like they show like little subtle things to show that Varay is a little bit stronger than the rest of them. And so here's another little show of that. Like she's the only one that's still standing straight, her arms crossed as she eyed me thoughtfully. This was better, yes? I asked, going back through in my mind each stage of our sparring. This was unlike the technical training I had done with the richer-blooded one, Cyrus. He trained with Cyrus too? I didn't even know that. Maybe I did. Maybe I forgot. I don't know. The lances had pushed me to work with my body differently, and I had strained them to the peak of their capabilities. at least without threatening their lives. Arthur's guidance about using what little mana I have in the best way is starting to make sense, I believe. Oh, so this is him talking. So Arthur's guidance about using what little mana I have in the best way is starting to make sense, I believe. Byron let out a scoff that didn't disguise his contested grin as he sank down to one knee, leaning on the crimson Asuran-made spear he wielded. That spell layering technique, was that Arthur? Seems like something he'd come up with. Okay, so they're kind of like just admiring Arthur, his combat abilities, coming up with new ways to use magic and shit. That spell layering technique, was that Arthur? Seemed like something he'd come up with. I grinned. The human was right. Arthur was quite good at utilizing small amounts of energy to great effect. An unlooked for boon in my traveling companion. My body required the mana output. So my body required the mana output of a full-blooded Asura to maintain itself. So what does that mean? His body requires the mana output. So basically his body requires mana to stay alive, the same way that the Asura's bodies, need mana to stay alive. So it's the amount of mana that it needs. It needs the amount of mana that a full-blooded Asura to maintain itself. But my Jin's father blood had prevented my core from growing to its full potency. So his core doesn't have enough mana to fully maintain his body. And so I think that, or maybe what it is, it uses up too much mana to maintain his body. And so the leftover mana that he has left, he doesn't really have a whole lot. And so Arthur's trying to teach him how to best utilize the little amount he has, which Arthur is obviously going to be really good at that, because back when he was on Earth, he had a small amount of ki, but he was very, very efficient with his use of ki, which is what made him become king in the first place, or at least to rise up to get to the finals to face off against Cecilia. So of course Arthur's going to be specialized in, efficiently using small amounts of magic. Ki, magic, mana, Anyway, so that's weird. So that he's limited then. So his body's still tough, but it requires a lot more mana than he actually has. But shouldn't he be able to continue to grow his core the same way that the humans do? I would think so, right? If he eventually got to the point where he didn't have a core the same way Cecilia does, wouldn't his body have a lot more mana to be able to keep himself sustainable? I mean, he probably could do it, actually. If he trained enough, he probably could get to that point to where... But I wonder if he has a color. I wonder if his core is an actual color. Is it white core, or is it... Because what's past white core is what Cecilia did, so it has to be either white core or something else. I don't know. We still need to know more about his body and his abilities and stuff. But anyway, so he said, so his father's blood had prevented my core from growing to its full potency. Your control is improving, Vere said, watching me closely. Her gaze flicked to the dull metal bracer on my wrist. I shifted uncomfortably, realizing I had forgotten about keeping up my appearance as a mere human. Yeah, this has been good, but you all are making progress as well. Micah slammed a closed fist against her sternum 3 times. I sure hope so. My core aches. Am I the only one? I think it's growing clearer, purifying more. It's been a long time though, so I'm not really sure. Yes, Vere answered, stretching her arms over her head. I feel it as well. Arthur was right. Our exertions are beginning to pay dividends. Byron stood and wiped sweat from his brow. What do the artifacts say, Emily? Okay, yeah, so they still doing the testing, so Emily's still testing their mana levels and stuff. A small human in glasses came out from behind a barrier shrouding one corner of the cavern. She gave her fellow human a pained smile and shrugged. There has definitely been refinement of your cores, that's easy enough to see, but the enhanced speed of your mana activation and channeling is still too fast for the equipment to make an accurate reading, even with the upgrades. Okay, so they're so strong to the point where the equipment can't even keep up with their mana outputs and and channeling. So activating the mana and channeling the mana is all too fast. Maybe if I had more time, but Micah snorted and rolled over onto her side, propping her head on one hand. Yeah, you scientists and your big secret project. Remember when the Lances were treated like we actually mattered? She sighed and mumbled. Micah remembers. Emily roughed up her curly hair with one hand, then straightened her glasses. Sorry, it's just... I have heard that Ren Kane can be a harsh taskmaster, I said. Yeah, I have heard that Ren Kane can be a harsh taskmaster, I said, recognizing that the girl seemed less energetic than before, darker even. Do not let the Titan grind you to dust under the heel of his drive for progress. Her brows shut up as she gave me a startled look. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I won't. When is Gideon going to explain what he is up to anyway? So they're still working on things, but they haven't explained anything yet. That's interesting. What's up, Animation? I don't know what you call it, Animation City, Animation, but what up, though? I'm sticking to it. I said I was gonna be live the next day. I'm a little bit later than normal, but I am. I'm going through the chapter. By the end of this, you're gonna know why I'm mad. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so Gideon and them are still keeping it a secret what they're doing. So when is Gideon going to explain what he is up to anyway? It's not like I haven't sensed those mana beasts. He brought in mana beasts? Mana beasts he had brought in. Micah's eyes narrowed at Emily. For reals, I'm a general. I should be in the know. Yeah. Emily's gaze settled on the floor, a shadow passing over her pale features. I don't think I'd want to say, even if I could. Gideon and the Asura have their reasons for secrecy, Vare said sternly. Don't harass the girl. It isn't her choice, and she would do well not to speak of what's happening down there. Okay, so Emily knows what's going on, but they don't want anybody to talk about it. But they brought in mana beasts. I'm really curious what the hell they're doing. Like, they got to be doing something crazy. They got the mana beasts there. They're working. You got Ren and Gideon, two geniuses, as far as like artificers. I think that's what they call it. So when is Gideon going to explain? So don't harass her. It isn't her choice, and she will do well not to speak of what's happening down there. Wait, Micah bolted upright. You know, why do you get to know? Her glare shifted to Byron. He gave her a shrug, resting his spear across his shoulders, and she gasped. You too? What the hell, you guys? Finally, her glare settled firmly on me. Don't tell me that everyone here knows except for me. Oh, so they know what's going on? I'm kind of confused. I thought that Emily only knew what's going on. So don't harass her. Wait, you know, don't you? Why do you get to know? Okay, so you saying that Vare knows, and then she looked at Byron. He gave her a shrug. And so he knows too. So she's the only one that doesn't know. Okay. Pushing away from the wall, I stood straight and cracked my neck, already feeling refreshed from the rousing spar against the three lances. No, Lady Earthborn. I have little interest in the I've read this word before. Machinations? Yeah, machinations of the Titan. They make good weapons, but I already have one of those. I gestured to Byron's spear. Wait. Who is saying this? No, Lady Earthborn, I have little interest in the machinations of the Titan. They make good weapons, but I already have one of those. So this must be Byron that's talking. I gestured. Oh, no. This is Chul saying this. He gestured to Byron's spear, so he already have a weapon. Okay. Though not perhaps so refined an implement of destruction as your spear, Byron Wykes. You should listen to it more closely. It seeks to guide you, to teach you to fight like an Asura. More than once, you missed the opportunity to land a blow because you fought against your weapon and not with it. Also, he's recognizing that the spear wants to guide him and teach him how to fight. Ain't that some shit? I was wondering what was different about, because we know Silverlight has his own sort of like spirit or some shit like that. So you would think that the spear does too. So the spear is trying to guide Byron and trying to teach him how to fight like an Asura. And so he's fighting against it, probably because he's still not comfortable with the spear or everything that Tacey had did. The human ran a hand along the shaft, considering the crimson steel. I am fighting with the spear, as I have been for months, but your words make a kind of sense. I can feel the guidance you speak of, only he shook his head, then gave me a suspicious look. You sometimes don't speak like a man, Chul. You speak as if... So they don't know. They don't know he was an Asura. Sometimes you sometimes don't speak like a man, Chul. You speak as if... Micah snorted, interrupting him. You just don't want to admit that we've been training toe-to-toe with one guy, and he seems to be as strong as the three of us together. See, that's my thing, though. Like, how strong is Chul? Because he put on a pathetic display when he went with Arthur, and they was fighting against those, Melsry and Viessa, and you got Cecilia there, you got Nico. Like, that was pathetic, honestly. Honestly, that was pathetic. Like, he should have been taking on two sides at the same time and fucking him up. But he was struggling, man. Like, that shit is just... But then the Lances are weak, so the fact that he can fight all three of them and then just still be cool, like, that makes sense, because the Lances, we don't even know if the Lances are even at retainer level. Can they comfortably take on a retainer? Like, we don't even know yet. You just don't want to admit that we've been training toe-to-toe with one guy, and he seems to be as strong as the three of us together. It's like Arthur all over again. Byron turned in exasperation to Veray. Surely you see it. Veray's piercing eyes lingered on me as I turned away. She frowned slightly. Are you okay, Chul? My fingers dug into my temple as a sudden pressure pinched inside my head. Yes, you three pushed me harder than I thought. That's all. Inside my skull, I heard Mordain's voice as if through a thick door. Inside my skull, I heard Mordain's... Is Mordain talking to him from long distance? That doesn't surprise me at all if he can do that. Or maybe he's like remembering something that he said. Inside my skull, I heard Mordain's voice as if through a thick door, dulled by distance and my own poor ability to receive it. So he is talking to him. Chul, forgive this intrusion into your thoughts. I have need of you immediately. Leave what you are doing and return to the hearth at once. Okay, so Mordain's got some things going on. He wants Chul to come back immediately. But wouldn't that be against what Arthur, agreed with him to do? I wonder if he's going to let Arthur know or, say something about him leaving. Because I don't think he should just up and leave. I don't know. I don't think Mordain is an enemy, though. So I think whatever Mordain might be having planned is going to be not going to jeopardize anything that Arthur's doing with the war, I don't think. So forgive this intrusion to your thoughts. Leave what you are doing and return to the hearth at once. Be wary on your journey. The Beast Glades are not safe. So the Beast Glades changed because he will already know the Beast Glades aren't safe. As the message faded, I straightened and shook my head slightly, trying to knock loose the discomfort. Fear gripped me, not for myself, but for those I had left in the hearth. Were they under attack? There was no way to know except to leave Eldoriel and return home. So here's my thing, though. So we don't know if Mordain has any other Asuras there that are battle Asuras. You know what I'm saying? That's they have combat ability, right? We know that Chul's been training. I forget that one dude, but the one dude that met up with Arthur in the Beast Glades or whatever, we know that he's been training. He fucking fights the strongest the strongest mana beasts and stuff for fun and stuff. So we know that he's got training, so he can fight. But maybe Mordain might secretly have some other people who are fighters, but we just haven't been introduced to them yet. Because I know that the way they talked about it was like, oh, most of the people in Hearth, they're kind of like docile. They're okay with peace, and they don't want to fight, and they just kind of like want to live their lives peacefully. So maybe that's just from the outside looking in. Maybe he secretly got some people who can really throw down in a fight. Because I don't think Chul is stronger than that one dude who's fighting Mana Beast for fun. So, and especially considering that he's like half Asura. So I think that, I just wonder why he wants Chul so bad. Because if there was something going on, would Chul really make that big of a difference? So I don't know. I'm curious. But anyway, so let me continue where I was at. So forget it. The message faded. I straightened and shook my head slightly, trying to knock loose the discomfort. Fear gripped me, not for myself, but for those I have left in the Hearth. Were they under attack? There was no way to know except to leave Voldoria and return home. I must go. I looked between the lances, but settled on Viray, because he knows that Viray is the strongest, and we know that Viray is the leader. Tell the Leywins, Eleanor, and Lady Alice. She frowned. Of course, but the three lances were all looking at me with concern. But I did not explain further. Instead, hurrying from the cavern. So he's not even explaining. He's just like, I'm going. See, I don't like that. Why wouldn't he let them know, or at least leave a message like, hey, let Arthur know X, Y, and Z or something. But if he can communicate with Chul from a long distance, could he communicate with Arthur from a long distance? Arthur's used to people talking in his head, so I think that he'll receive it a lot easier than Chul would. But maybe there's like some sort of like precondition in order to do that. So I don't know. I did not explain any further. Instead, hurrying from the cavern, which was well away from where people lived. Still, it didn't take me long to reach the surface from the outer tunnels. None of the dwarven patrol stations gave me pause, being more concerned with anyone coming in than going out. Less than 20 minutes had passed before I was standing beneath the bright desert sun that hovered over the Darvish dunes. I didn't stop to take in the scene. Can this motherfucker really get there like on foot, like nonstop? I didn't stop to take in the scene, but lifted up off the ground. And oh yeah, he can fly. I forgot about that. Lifted up off the ground and pointed myself eastward, flying at speed toward the mountains. I now expected Mordain to call me back from my quest. In truth, I hadn't been sure he would want me to return. He was a kind man, a good man, but I had never understood his willingness to turn the other cheek, as he put it, no matter what insult was offered. I, on the other hand, knew that sometimes the only right answer was overwhelming force. Some crimes could never be made up for and should never be forgiven. Even as a child who did not yet understand what I was, my fiery temperament had made me stand out from the others. Although traveling with Arthur and fighting back against Agrona was exactly what I wanted, I still wasn't fully certain that it had been allowed because I wished it, or simply because it got rid of me. Maybe it's a plan. Maybe it's like a scheme. Like, okay, you go because I got other plans for you. Or maybe he wanted him to find out some information about Arthur or something. I don't know. It seems like he's second guessing why he was allowed, but he's coming up with the conclusion of like, oh, he was allowed to do this not because he wanted to do it, but because it just got rid of him. So maybe he wasn't there for something that was going on. Maybe Mordain had some plans and he thought that Chul might get in the way or something. I don't know. Or simply because it got rid of me. This doesn't matter, I reminded myself, crushing the unwelcome thoughts within the voice of my will, or the vice of my will. Mordain needs me, and I will go. And when I am done, I will return and resume preparing myself to devastate our enemies. Even if Mordain will not. The fight was long and tiring. The flight. Even if Mordain will not. Okay, period. The flight was long and tiring. It took little mana to sustain flight once it had been achieved, as I only needed to maintain the balance between myself and the atmosphere around me. But it did require a level of focus that I found grating. Growing up beneath the ground, I hadn't practiced often. It was with a grateful breath of cold air that I crested the Grand Mountains and dipped down into the Beast Glades. Finally, I slipped free of the uncomfortable cuffed Ren. I slipped free of the uncomfortable cuff Ren had designed to mask my mana signature so that I appeared human even to the dragons. Here, it was more important that I project my own natural mana signature, which would ward off the native beasts. Home was close. And now we're going to Sicilia? I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised by that. Okay, so this got me thinking, like, if we're going to Sicilia, maybe Sicilia is making some sort of travel to get to the hearth, I guess, with the Grona's permission or something. Because I'm just wondering, why we go to Sicilia? So he's going back home, and then we switch to Sicilia. This got me worried, man. This got me worried. Okay. The air was thick. Yeah, I'm still good. So, the air was thick with the buzz of insects, the haunting saturation, I think that's how you say that, of some unseen beast. I think that's how you say that. I think that's how you say that word. Let me see.
Susurration.
Susurration. What the hell is susurration? Whispering, murmuring, or rustling? Susurration. All these goddamn words. Of some unseen beast. A smell like rotten eggs oozed up from the wet, sucking ground. And worst of all, the rift, the connection between the Asoran homeland of Ephiodus and the Beast Glades of Dicathan was still hidden from me. So the rift was hidden from her? Worst of all, the rift, the connection between the Asoran homeland and the Beast Glades, was still hidden from me. It shouldn't be this difficult, I thought, my frustration interrupted my focus. I pulled back from the search. So is she searching for the rift? I guess that's what she's saying. It shouldn't be that difficult. So she's searching for the rift is what it seems like. I pulled back from the search, resting my senses. It had been days already, days spent in the dark depths of the worst Beast Glades had to offer, with no company but a Grona's race and only a few intermittent moments with Nico. I hope this task is going better than I hope his task is going better than my own. It was maybe a less important role, but depending on how everything else shook out, Nico's success would still decide exactly how the next leg of this war would play out. The Elderwood Guardian stirred within me subtly, and I immediately sobered. The beast will have been more active since we arrived in the Beast Glades, pressing on me like a tension held just beneath my skin. Tessia, on the other hand, had been largely silent, the presence of her destroyed homeland looming like a dark cloud over her thoughts. I expected her to give me trouble, considering being in Dicathan was a risk, but it never should have taken so long. But our search was complicated by a number of factors. Gray's attack on the battle group in Ediston had caused a cascading failure of plans that was still rippling around me. And I had to believe that Aladari had purposefully chosen that moment to seek shelter with the dragons. Combined with my continued inability to discover the exact location of the rift, it was difficult not to grow frustrated with this mission. You know, I can't read this without thinking to myself, Cecilia, why are you doing all this in the first place? Like, I still can't come to grips with it. Like, just why? Like, why are you doing everything that he wants you to do? Like, for what reason? Because he promises that he's going to take you back to your own time and give you new bodies and have a new life with Nico, the guy that you pretend like you love but really don't. I just don't get it. Like, they haven't even kissed. Isn't that some crazy ass shit? Like, they have not shown any affection towards each other at all. But they're supposed to be deeply in love with one another? Anyway, but I guess her whole excuse is, oh no, Tessia won't let me kiss him. The fuck kind of sense is that? Anyway, so combined with my continued inability to discover the exact location of the rift, it was difficult not to grow frustrated with this mission. It should have been a straightforward thing to find the point where so much power was converging and condensing, but the transmission of mana between Dicathan and Ephiodus was tremendous. The flow of mana was so great that it sent echoes of itself all over eastern Dicathan. And to make matters worse, there also seemed to be several layers of I'd already talked about layers. Several layers of powerful, diffusive magic and shrouding spells in place throughout the Beastglades, which I could neither explain nor breach. Yet. Because I'm all powerful. Closing my eyes, I rubbed her. Like, I just hate her perspective. It's like, I really do. Like, it's like a drag to even get through her perspectives because I just dislike her so much. Like, everything she says frustrates. Like, I've never felt this way about a character ever. Like, it's just so... For you to have so many good characters and then just drop this big-ass turd of a character in the story, I really just can't... I can't come to grips. I really can't. So anyway, so they got some layers of powerful diffusive magic. So I'm guessing that's from Redain to help shroud the hearth, or that could be to just help hide the rift, I guess. So anyway, closing my eyes, I rubbed the ridge of my nose with 2 fingers. Focus, I scolded myself. My eyes snapped open and I unfolded from my floating position before drifting to the ground. No, I don't need to focus. I need a break. Conjuring a bed of soft soil and woven plant fibers, I lay down and closed my eyes again, trying to doze as I waited for Nico and the Wraiths to return. I sensed Nico's mana signature ascend from one of the many dungeons he was searching sometime later, flying over the treetops with his escort of Wraiths to prevent attacks. Aren't the dragons supposed to be like patrolling Dicathan? Like, how did they not like spot them at all? Unless they're doing something to hide their mana signatures, I guess. But they couldn't because she can sense his mana signature. So I'm just wondering, like, how are they able to do this without the dragons knowing that the dragons supposed to be patrolling Dicathan? So that's confusing. So the race to prevent attacks by the largest of Dicathan mana beasts. He was quick in returning. The Wraiths kept their distance, setting up a meager camp and lighting a fire to heat their food while Nico came to report on his mission. He wasn't having any more luck than I was. The timing of all this is starting to become a problem, he said as he finished telling me all about the last couple of dungeons he searched. The tether between Ephiodus and our world, the dragon's portals, the teleportation gates. It all needs to come together just right, otherwise all the pieces collapse individually. Don't you think I know that? I snapped, then looked away from him, immediately feeling guilty. Like, what kind of bipolar disorder bullshit is this? Just like, don't you think I know that? Oh no, I shouldn't have snapped at him like that. I'm sorry, Nico. Like, what? This bitch don't even know who she is. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's fucking crazy. Immediately feeling guilty after I snapped at him. For what reason? Why you snap? Why did you snap? Like, why? Like, it don't make sense. You had this burst of anger, and then you're like, oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to be so angry at the guy I love and care about so much. Anyway, let's continue with this shit. Don't you think I know that? I snapped, then looked away from him, immediately feeling guilty. Ever since our fight against Gray, there has been a queasy tension between us. I'm sorry, He waved away our apology. Don't apologize. I simp for you all the time. There's nothing you can do that can hurt my feelings because you are my idol and I pedestalize you. So don't worry about apologizing. I deserved it because I'm Nico. Anyway, He waved away my apology. I know. I shouldn't focus on the negative. Perhaps group took out a dragon. We know where Aladari is, and so far the wider operation in Daikatha seems to have gone unnoticed. We've got time. Something in the distance. An unusual movement within the mana stole my attention. Chul? And Nico drifted off, clearly seeing the distraction of my features. Cecil, Nico asked, what is it? I'm not sure, I said, frowning. The signature was similar to a mana beast, but it was too concentrated, and it moved too fast and too straight for any of the more powerful beasts I was familiar with. Okay, I really hope that they don't follow Chul, and Chul leads them to the hearth and he doesn't know it. Like, that would be crazy for him not to be able to sense or notice their mana signatures. So, I really hope that shit doesn't happen. So the signature was similar to a mana beast, but it was too concentrated, and it moved too fast and too straight for any of the more powerful beasts I was familiar with. I focused on it, searching the mana. Deep within my core, a familiar aspect resonated. A phoenix, I exclaimed, unable to hide my excitement. Its mana signature is disguised somehow, more like a mana beast than an Asura, but I'm certain it's a phoenix. It must be one of Mordaine's people. Spinning toward the race, I gestured to one of the battle groups. You five, with me. Flying up into the lower, thinner boughs of the canopy, I sped off in the direction of the mana signature. Okay, so maybe she's not going to follow him. Maybe she's going to confront him. But maybe Mordaine senses that Cecilia and the Wraiths are like in the area, because maybe that's the reason why he's calling him back. Or maybe he's calling him back so that way he knows that they're going to fight him, and then that can lead him to send in reinforcements to try to take him out. So maybe he's using him to like draw them out or something. I don't know, man. It could be so many different things that could be happening. So you five with me, flying up into the lower, thinner boughs of the canopy, I sped off in the direction of the mana signature. It was coming from the mountains and moving fast, flying just over the treetops. As we moved south and west to intercept, I carefully shrouded even the most minor distortion of the race mana. So she can shroud even the minor distortion of the race. So even the mana, even the race who are extremely adept at hiding their signatures and their presence, even a little bit that they leak out, she can shroud that shit. So he has no way of knowing that they're in the area. Okay. I mean, she's all powerful. She can do anything. Let's see. We flew for an hour or more before our paths converged. The Wraith and I aligned in a tree. Alighted in a tree. I think that's how I said that. Anyway, hiding within the deep shadows and waited. A minute passed, and then there was the sudden rush of wind as a large man flashed past above, sending a wave of motion through the broad leaves above. I gave a signal to the others, and we sped off in pursuit of the Phoenix. So they are going to follow him. Okay, that's what I thought. But how would he not know? He's got to sense something. Even if he doesn't sense their mana signature, he would sense like, okay, something's off. Like, this don't seem right. You know, like he'd be able to sense something. Anyway, we sped off in pursuit of the Phoenix. Agrona would be quite pleased as this venture rewarded us with not only the location of the rift between Daikatha and Ephiodus, but also that of the long-hidden refuge of Mordaine and the other Asura he led from their homes. Finally, something goes right, I thought, carefully ignoring the prickling of Lady Dawn's memories in the back of my head. So we're going back to Chul. Okay. Before I go to Chul, let me see what you said. Cecilia did nothing wrong. Nico needs to start doing some pimping instead of simping. Yeah, he need to do some. Can you imagine Nico putting his hands on Cecilia? Like, never in a million fucking years. like he wouldn't even think of doing something like that. Like it's never gonna happen. But let's see. Nico's the type of guy that will let her smash another man. Oh yeah, like he'd be, bruh. Don't even get me started, yo. Don't even get me started. Let's not completely emasculate Nico, okay? Let's not like. I mean, he has like at least one or two redeeming qualities, right? I mean, he's determined, right? He's dedicated. You know, I mean, he puts his mind to it and he wants to achieve it by any means necessary. So, I mean, he's got dedication. He's up together with her smash another man, and she said she was thinking of him the whole time. Oh Lord. Okay. Let me go. Let's stop. So Chul, as I flew deeper over the beast glades and closer to the hearth, a dozen scarlet harpies burst up from the cover of the trees to my right and scattered, their squawking slicing at my ears like razors. I stopped, frowning as they flew away. Scanning the trees below, I failed to see what had caused their unusual behavior. A caravan of harpies wasn't easily cowed. They weren't. That's what I'm saying. He gotta recognize some shit, right? Like even if you don't sense them, he can notice like the area. Like okay, like they're flying away. They're not bitches. So why would they just fly away like that? It must be something strong in the distance or something close. So anyway, they wouldn't easily be cowed. They weren't fleeing from my passage. That much was certain. The hairs on the back of my neck rose up as a chill tremor ran along my spine. Flying straight up, I spun around and bellowed, "Come out! I know you were there. If you wish for a battle, you have found one. So come on and claim it." Okay. This is what I expected from somebody who's supposed to be as strong as he is. Cool. But how would this go, though? How far is he from the hearth? And will Mordain send him some backup? I conjured Sun Crusher into my hands and pushed mana through it. Orange flames simmered within the fissures, but I was careful not to let too much mana escape needlessly. The forest below ripped itself apart. Hundreds of shadowy winged creatures exploded into the air, spinning around me like a dark cyclone, and from the shadows, dozens of needle-thin black spikes flew toward me. I swung, so they just not even trying to talk, they just going immediately into the fight. I swung Sun Crusher with all the speed I possessed, conjuring a gout of bright orange flames in a thin nova. Phoenix fire collided with blood iron and void wind, and the sky became an inferno. Flames rained down on the canopy, and the forest began to burn. Flying right, I brought my mace up and caught a blurring scythe as it slashed down. The moment so fast, I only saw the big ugly man holding it after our weapons had already collided. Too late. I sensed the hissing cut of another weapon, and something bit into my back. Okay, so he's getting see. So here's my thing. With Chul, he cannot fight against a team of Wraiths. He can't win. He can maybe last for a little bit, but he's not strong enough to win. And so, even without Cecilia being there, a team of Wraiths will put him in. So, with Cecilia being there too, it's pretty much no hope. He's got to get some sort of backup. And if he doesn't get backup, he's either going to lose and get captured, or he's going to get killed. And if he gets killed, that would be some trash, because it would be like, okay, Mordain, why did you bring him there and just let him get killed? You know, like it would need a lot of explaining. So let's see what the hell happens. So too late. He sensed the cut of another weapon, and something bit into my back. I spun away from the scythe, whirling Sun Crushers in an arc around me, struggling to control the flow of mana to reinforce both my weapon and the thick barrier cladding my skin. Both my attackers fell, melting into the wall of blazing shadow creatures and flame. The shadow creatures were closing in, their spiraling flight speeding as they did so. I mean, what about retreat though? You know? Like you can always retreat. Live to fight another day. So let's see. So I spun onward onto. So the shadow creatures were closing in, the spiraling flight speeding as they did so. Putting my weapon down. Okay, put his weapon down. I spun onward into the tumulate. What the fuck is that? Anyway, pulsing mana rapidly into my barrier in preparation for their assault. I came up against an invisible resistance, a repelling force, entwining the creatures. My entire body jerked, my force matched by the enclosing cyclone. With a sound like breaking bones, the opposing spell burst. Wait, with a sound like breaking bones, the opposing spell burst asunder. I think that's how I said it. And I smashed through into the open air. I need to reread this because I don't know what the hell he's talking about. So the shadow creatures were closing in. He put his weapon down. He sped onwards into the tumulate, pulsing mana rapidly into my barrier in preparation for their assault. So he's trying to like make his barrier stronger. I came up against an invisible resistance. So he's like, something's stopping him from moving or going forward. A repelling force entwining the creatures. What creatures? My entire body jerked, my force matched by the enclosing cyclone. With a sound like breaking bones, the opposing spell burst asunder. And I smashed through into the open air. So he got through the resistance. Two horned men waited for me on the other side, both wrapped in dark mana. One thrust forward with a spear like a black lightning bolt, as the other breathed out a cloud of pure darkness. I jerked to a halt, sending the force of my forward progress out in front of me in a controlled burst. The man with the lightning spear twirled around the wave of visible force, but the second man wasn't ready and was battered aside, the spell spilling forth from his ugly mug clipping off before fully manifesting. Okay. Behind the race, the force wave exploded in a series of fireballs. Sun Crusher and the black lightning bolt collided, and the coiling tendrils. I'm surprised that Cecilia hasn't shown up and done anything yet. The coiling tendrils wrapped around the haft of my weapon and up my arms, making my arms go numb. My vision darkened as the winged shadows swarmed around me from the sides, seeking to close the loop of their cyclone again. Flying somewhere within their depths, I could sense, I could sense 3 more signatures, indistinct and difficult to trace. I dropped my weapon and leaned into the spear wielder's attack, forcing the spear down and away with one arm as I drove my other elbow into the man's mouth, rocking his head back. Despite my numb arms, I spun around behind him, grabbed him in my quivering fist, and hurled him bodily at his shadow spewing companion. Okay, so he threw him at the other wraith. Okay. Pain ripped through my side, and I looked down to see the black scythe embedded deep into my hip. He didn't even notice that he got hit. The long curved blade lodged into the bone. With a roar, I summoned Skull Crusher again and slammed it against the scythe, wrenching it free of my body and nearly knocking it from the huge man's grip. Who hit him with the scythe? Because he threw the one guy at the other one that was spewing the shadows. So I guess the third one hit him with the scythe, knocking it from the huge man's grasp. The blow continued into the man's knee, spinning him off balance. Layered beneath the physical blow, I released a burst nova of force and fire, throwing the man further away and deflecting a barrage of blood iron spears. Okay. He's doing his best to keep them at bay, but he's getting some injuries in though. Okay. The winged shadows had congealed around us again, spinning faster and faster, and all 3 of my attackers backed into the vortex, again melting from sight. I considered their strength, the dark feel of their mana, and knew them to be wraiths. The experimentations of the Vitra clan, bred by generations of controlled entwining of Basilisk and Elacrian blood. A battle group of wraiths wielding the decay attribute magic of the Basilisk. Okay, so he knows all about their abilities, so that should make him a little bit more prepared to deal with them. I let out a booming laugh of surprise, but held back the eager taunts that jumped to my lips. Brute force and a quick end to the fight would not be enough to win this battle. I needed to stay mindful of the lessons I had learned traveling with Arthur, and I had to make my power last. Yeah, because they fight in a fight of like attrition. They like whittle you down and poison you little by little to where you eventually you're too weak to even fight back anymore. So he knows that. So let's see what he does. Lifting Suncrusher above my head with one hand, I felt for the 5 half-hidden mana signatures around me, then reached for the atmospheric fire attribute mana that had drifted high into the sky above the beast glades. Basking in the warmth of the sun, when my weapon swung down, columns of fire fell with it, scorching the sky like the fingers of an ancient god. The vortex of shadow creatures boiled away, revealing the 5 dark forms it had hidden. The wraiths deflected the attack with outward ease, not bothering to dodge or hide because of his apparent lack of power. So his attack was not that powerful and they easily blocked it. Okay, that's not good. As the columns of fire faded, a haze of my mana clung to them, making each wraith glow like a firebug. A haze of his mana clung to them. Was that purposeful? They would find it difficult to use the shelter of their obscuring spells to hide from me now. Okay, so he's learned. So he made that attack. Not only he knew it was weak, but he did it so that way he could attach his mana to their bodies. So that way, if they were to try to shroud themselves, he'll still know where they're at. And he learned this from all the bullshit that he dealt with when he was fighting Varay with her illusions and stuff. So that way he can know where they're at when they're trying to hide themselves. So that's smart. So that's good. So I let you know that he's learned from his previous battles and he's making different decisions to help him out. So that way it's not as difficult. So that's actually really good. Really good improvement. Okay. They would find it difficult to use the shelter of their obscuring spells to hide from me now. Pushing mana into Suncrusher, I held the mace aloft and released a flash of blinding light. Flames crackled as the weapon then carved an arc around me, firing off several bolts of phoenix flame. Mana surged from the weapon back into me, and I released it as a solid beam of force. See, another thing I'm thinking about too is that Cecilia is so powerful at this point, and because she already took I think that was his mom's mana. She could probably force the mana away from Chul. Like she should be able to do that pretty easily. So I mean, this fight is kind of doomed unless he gets some backup. So where was I at? So flames cracked as the weapon then carved an arc around me, firing off several bolts of phoenix flame. The mana surged from the weapon back into me, and I released it as a solid beam of force. The spell caught the shadows, spewing Wraith in the arms as he attempted to blink away the blinding flash and dodge a much weaker bolt of fire, which exploded in the air as it passed him. His mana crackled against mine. Then the skin beneath blackened and broke open. A black spike punched through my barrier of protective mana and then through the muscle of my shoulder. So he got another injury in his shoulder. A second ripped through my side. So he got another injury in the side. A third, my upper thigh. That's another injury. Oh, this is not looking good, man. It's not looking good. I quickly conjured aura of flame wrapped around me, burning away the rest of the projectiles. Darkness took me, like a living shadow. It wrapped around my face, covering my eyes, nose, and mouth. I clawed at the back, but my hand came away empty. Suncrusher whirled around me defensively as I struggled for a way to free myself. A jolt struck my left side. A biting pain sliced across my right. Tiny claws of mana raked and bit at me from every direction. My weapon moved faster and faster as I whirled it around me, searching for the right mana signature. They had me on the defensive. Having already shrugged off the most potent of my spells, I could feel their movement slowing, their demeanor growing confident. The Wraith's mana signatures blinked in and out, half suppressed and muddied by the confluence of so many spells. but they hadn't yet shaken off the lingering haze of phoenix fire that clung to them. Something pierced me from above, driving down through my shoulder and back into my hip before leaving my body through the back of my leg. What the fuck is that? Something flashed through the shadows, black on black, like a bolt of black lightning, and my body spasmed. Oh, so they're using that lightning shit to make him like paralyzed. Heedless of the pain, I focused on my target. The source of the suffocating blackness was nearby, closer than he should have been. More still, his guard down. I held my strike even as my blood pumped from my wounds. Sagging slightly, I gave a ragged, choked breath through the gritted teeth and coughed up blood. The blackness swirled, and I felt the caster, now right in front of me, thrust his weapon casually at my throat. I shattered the inhibiting barrier of control around my core. I shattered the inhibiting barrier of control around my core. What the hell does that mean? I shattered the inhibiting barrier. So the barrier was like limiting him? The inhibiting barrier around. So yeah, he did something to, like, I guess, get rid of the barrier that was inhibiting his control, letting my mana flood into my weapon. Okay? In a single motion, I swept Suncrusher upward, catching the lazy thrust of a blade of blood iron wrapped in shadows and incinerating the weapon and arm alike. My left hand, grip weak from the spike piercing my entire body, wrapped around an unseen throat. Okay, so he ended up slicing the arm of the person who was going to stab him in the throat, and then his other hand, even though his grip was weak, he grabbed someone's throat. The shadows distorted, briefly showing me the Wraith's face, his eyes wide and horrific, his mouth open in a shadow-spewing howl of agony. You have fallen for my ruse, I growled, before Suncrusher passed through his skull. Alright, so he got rid of one, that's cool, but he got a lot of injuries though, and I don't think he can heal. Burnt black fragments of which sprayed out into the air as his blood-slicked throat slipped free of my grasp. So that's the same person, so he didn't get two people, that's just the one person. Okay. Sending the corpse stumbling toward the forest below. The shadows melted away. The Wraith with the lightning spear hesitated as he turned to watch his companion plummet, while a long-haired woman cursed at the others to close ranks, even as her conjured shadow creatures crawled all over me, their claws and teeth making tatters of my skin. Right in front of me, the big one's scythe was slicing down. Releasing Suncrusher, my right hand snapped up and grabbed the weapon just beneath the curved blade, but my left arm quaked and refused to listen. The scythe's tip carved across my collarbone and down, so you get another wound, and down my chest, drawing a torn and bloody line from the corner of my eye. I could see a foot of black iron still sticking up from my shoulder, its length pinning my whole body together like an insect on a mat. I jerked the scythe toward me, and the big Wraith was yanked forward with it. I drove my forehead into the bridge of his nose, then exploded into an aura of flames once again, sending the Wraith flailing away as his weapon burned in my grip. The shadow beast burned off my body. Okay. A bolt of black lightning deflected and arced away. I mean, he's doing a good job. I gotta give him props for this. He's doing a really good job, especially with all these injuries. But how long can he really last, though? With a twist of my hip and shoulders, I shattered the blood iron spear piercing me, and it oozed from my wounds alongside my own blood. The next wave of attacks came too fast for me to even lock down my enemy's locations, and despite my best efforts to conserve it, I could already feel my mana faltering. Pushing toward the Wraiths, I took advantage of the gap in their number to force them on the defensive. There was no time to slow down or come up with some plan of attack. My thoughts grew slow and cloudy, unable to keep up with the four powerful enemies, and the lessons of my training bled from me. Fire and blows rained down in the direction of whatever Wraith was closest, but the Conjurer's shadowy summons were everywhere. When he says that My thoughts grew slow and cloudy, unable to keep up with the four powerful enemies, and the lessons of my training bled. So he's losing the lessons from his training. So he's not focused anymore. And it's probably because of him being so goddamn weak from all the injuries. And his thoughts are cloudy. He got hit with lightning and shit. Body got spasmed and paralyzed, or at least attempted to paralyze him. Okay. The conjurer's shadowy summons were everywhere, crawling all over me, flying between me and my target. And although I pushed them back and prevented them from coordinating their assault, I did little enough damage of my own. The aura of fire faded far too soon, though my many wounds were of no importance. My core itself ached, as if a fist of iron were crushing it. So he's running out of mana. I kept myself from glancing in the direction of the hearth. The wraiths had been shadowing me and hadn't attacked until I discovered their presence. It wasn't me for which they hunted, it was my home. I grinned viciously and spat out a mouthful of blood. I have taken a life today, while you have only managed to shed a few drops of blood. Keep running and you will all join the fallen. The lightning bolt spear flashed toward me. I batted it aside. A large blood iron lance thrust out of a passing shadow at my throat. I caught it on Suncrusher, shattering it. Gouts of uncontrolled flame leapt from my body. So he's wasting a lot of mana. And that's kind of leading to him to fall faster. A large blood iron lance thrust out of passing the shadow at my throat. I caught it on Suncrusher, shattering it. Gouts of uncontrolled flame leapt from my body and weapon, burning away the shadow summons, but only hastening the depletion of my mana. That's exactly what I was saying. A frigid numbness clutched the left side of my body. I stared down at it, now immediately comprehending. Blood drained from me in a curtain, chasing the tumbling arm and leg that had just been severed from me? Blood. Damn. Blood drained from me in a curtain, chasing the tumbling arm and leg that had just been severed from me, pumping furiously out of the remaining stumps. This motherfucker just lost an arm and a leg. I mean, I thought they might keep him alive to try to figure out where the hearth was, but if Chul just straight up dies right here, bro. Okay. I thought I could still see the after image of the black scythe in the air where it has swept through me, parting me from my limbs. I wobbled, nearly falling out of the sky. My flight interrupted by the bitter shock attempting to seize my mind. Bah! I spat again, waving Suncrusher before me, fissures glowing bright orange as air rushed through them. One arm is enough. It is all I ever needed. A ring of blood iron spikes grew from the winged shadows, hovering around me. Black lightning struck them, chained the spikes together so that they formed a solid barrier. Beyond it, the scythe-wielding giant floated into view. He was burned and favoring one side even in flight, but his face was unmarred by the expression of pain. Instead, he was grinning. You seem eager to die, Asura. Would that I could give you that gift, but such is not my place today. His rasping voice tightened with excitement as he continued. But how much pain you experience, that depends on how long you keep up this meaningless conflict. Flames blazed across my wounds, scorching my flesh and sealing them, filling the air with the scent of hot iron as my blood boiled. Do you not think you can cow me with these small words? Even your cruel kind has not invented a pain that can break me. Either I will leave here victorious and your ashes will fertilize the forest below, or I will die a warrior's death and my companions will bring down a mighty vengeance in recompense. The wraith scoffed and exchanged a look with the summoner. She tossed her long hair and shrugged. Then we will take the rest of your limbs one by one, the wraith continued. he gave a signal with his hand, and the web of iron and lightning began closing in on me. That's the same shit they used for Aladari. And also Arthur too. And Regis. I knew my strength was flagging, but I had enough yet to use one arm at least. Pushing as much mana as my complaining core would allow into my weapon, I swung with all my might. Flames jumped and curled from the fissures, creating halos of white fire around the round head and leaving a tail of sparks blurred in its wake. Suncrusher met the combined black lightning and blood iron net. Phoenix fire ranged against the decay. I think I said that. No, it's not in. Raged? I don't fucking know. Is it ragged? Raged? Anyway, decay attribute mana of the wraith. Blood iron twisted and the soul fire deviant lightning splintered. Energy ripped apart at the seams, fracturing outward in the form of a mana shrapnel. Okay. I mean, pretty much Chul is done at this point. But maybe they got some other plans. The scythe-wielding wraith reared back even as my momentum carried me through the shroud of shattered mana. My weapon aimed at his head. His scythe came up, but too slow. Shadows pulled at my arm, hardened between us, and pulled the wraith away simultaneously. So he was about to get killed, but they saved his ass. But the pure white light of my fire cast him aside. At the last second, the wraith dipped down, and the Suncrusher collided with the side of one horn, shearing it from his head. Moving with his own hungry lust for enemy blood, Suncrusher swept around again, falling toward the wraith's skull, even as shadow and iron crushed all around me. Or shadow and iron crashed all around me. Then, the light darkened. The weapon slid free of my limp grasp, whirling end over end into the burning trees below. The fire in my core went out, and I began to fall as backlash took me. So he used up all his mana, and he's passing out. He's falling out of the sky, and he's going to backlash. Okay, so you said this is the bullshit. So animation, what exactly was bullshit? Because I don't really think of it as bullshit. The way I view this chapter is I think that this has some scheme with Mordain. So I'm wondering what Mordain's plan is with all this, because Chul would have never gotten to this fight if Mordain would have never called him to come back to the hearth. So my thinking is that Mordain knew that they were out there looking for the rift and shit, and he wanted them to get into that conflict. And there's no way that he wouldn't have known that Chul would lose the fight. There's no way he wouldn't have known that. So he knew that Chul would get into that fight, and he knew that Chul would lose. But for what reason would Mordain even do all this? So that's my question. This has got me more asking, what the hell is Mordain doing? What is his plans? What is his schemes? Because it seems like he wanted Chul dead, but why? Why would he even do all this in the first place? But as far as the fight goes, I mean, I think that Chul did a pretty good job. I think that he lasted a good while. I'm surprised that Cecilia never got involved. I'm surprised by that. But then again, I said before the fight even started that he wouldn't be able to beat a team of Wraiths anyway. So I wasn't expecting Chul to win with just the Wraith. And then you got Cecilia there, like there was no chance. So I was expecting for him to lose, but I was thinking that maybe he could buy enough time to where Mordain could send some backup. So maybe Mordain was thinking that he wanted to use Chul to draw him out while he sends backup to to fight him. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe he wanted Chul to die. So yeah, this got me questioning Mordain. That's what this chapter's got. This chapter's got me questioning Mordain and what the fuck is going on with him and what is his motivations. Mordain, the secret final villain. That would be crazy, but I don't see it happening though. I don't see it happening just because of his relationship with. Maybe he's a villain to Kez. Maybe he's an enemy to Kez, but like, I don't know. But then maybe he could be like just biding his time, trying to set the pieces up, get everything and planned up, and maybe Chul is part of this plan. I don't know, man. I just know that Mordain is the reason why Chul got fucked up like this. I know that much. So my question is why? Why would Mordain even do all this in the first place? But this is why I'm mad. If he's dead, it's the same thing with Aldir, wasted potential. I agree. But listen, I agree with that, but I would say that it's a little bit different because there's somebody pulling the strings that ended up with, like, if Chul ended up dying, which I don't think he's dead. He wins a backlash, so I don't think he's dead. I think he might wake up in a prison cell or some shit like that, right? Same thing that happened to his mom. Maybe they're going to torture him to try to figure out where the hearth is or something like that. But I think it's a little bit different because Mordain's involved. Mordain's involved with his potential death. Whereas Aldir, nobody was involved with Aldir doing what he did. Aldir literally just decided that I'm going to take myself out of the fight and help you bring Sylvie back. And I'm done. I'm going to go into the ether world and just pass away. And so there was nobody involved with that happening. He literally just chose to do that. Whereas Chul, on the other hand, it seemed like some sort of manipulation to get him to fight and then lose. So Mordain is at play. So I think that if Chul end up dying, yeah, it's going to be a bummer. It's going to be some bullshit. But I wouldn't be as pissed off about it just because it would make me more intrigued with what Mordain is doing. Like, okay, we got Chul, yeah, it's wasted potential because Chul could have been doing a lot more stuff, more improvement, more training with Arthur and stuff. But Chul was never like a powerhouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, Chul was never like Aldir. Like, if that was Aldir fighting those wraiths would have been fucked. It would have been a wrap for those wraiths. He would have cleaned all their ass one at a time. Just cleaned them through. Aldir would have fucked them over. So I guess that's the difference. The difference is that Aldir was an extreme powerhouse in the story. And he just sacrificed, I'm just going to just kill myself. Chul was not as powerful. Yeah, he had potential, but he wasn't as powerful. But it makes me think more about Mordain and what schemes he might have planned because him being involved with all this happening in the first place. So I'm not pissed off about it at all, actually. It kind of turned out the way I thought it would. I'm glad that he was able to kill at least one of them. So that's cool, but yeah, I'm not all that surprised by it. Not dead, but without an arm and a leg, that's like Dag. He is not Arthur to make it just grow again. Yeah, he can't just grow limbs back again, but he can still fly even without an arm and a leg. So yeah, he'd probably be limited, but he'd still be, powerful. But basically he's kind of just not really a threat anymore after this. If he ends up just going into prison and being tortured, he's kind of just like what's going to happen? Because I don't think he's going to give up the location. I think he's too tough and he's too stubborn and he won't give up the location or anything. So, I mean, what will happen? You think Arthur's going to save him? I don't see Arthur going to save him. I think for Arthur, it'll be too risky. But, yeah, I think it'd be too risky. Because he had to go to Tager and Calum or whatever, their prison place or whatever. Like, he'd have to try to infiltrate them, and that's, maybe he could infiltrate and then try to rescue Chul and then meet Agrona, and then Agrona offer him some deal or some shit like that. I can see that potentially happening, but I don't really think that Arthur would try to rescue him. Would Mordain go and try to rescue him? I don't think Mordain will go and try to rescue him. Otherwise, why would Mordain even set him up to get defeated in the first place? So I'm really at this point just like, what was the purpose? The only purpose I can see is that Mordain has some sort of plans that he's doing and some scheme. And maybe he really didn't care about Chul at all. Maybe it was all just an act. So, I mean, it could be something like that. What's even more worse is that Chul was strong enough to 1v3 the Lances, so the Lances are still useless. Yeah, the Lances are still they're still, bruh. Like, I mean, I've been saying this. Like, we don't even know if they're strong enough to take on a retainer at this point. Like, they can feel themselves getting stronger, but at what rate? Like, are they getting strong fast enough? And it doesn't seem like they're getting strong fast enough. So they need to go to the relic tombs and do some training and like slow down time and some shit like that. That's what they're gonna need. The same thing that Ellie had did with Lyra and Micah. Like, that's what they need. So yeah, I already knew the Lancers was weak. So I mean, I think at this point they probably can face on a retainer and win, but not a Scythe. They ain't fighting a Scythe. So yeah, they're still useless. If he's alive, I hope Mordane shows up with backup or other Phoenix show up to help. But here's my thing, though. I'm really skeptical about whether Mordane's even going to show up, because Mordane is the reason why he got into this fight in the first place. He could have just stayed there training with the Lances, but Mordane went and invaded his mind to tell him to rush back right away. He rushed back right away, and then he gets attacked. Like, Mordane knew this shit was happening. So if he was going to try to rescue him, wouldn't he try to rescue him when the fight's happening? Why would he wait for him to get captured, get into the core of the enemy's stronghold, and then try to rescue him and potentially sacrifice more lives? That don't really make any sense. So I think that Mordane might have set all this up, which is intriguing, because it's just like, what the fuck is Mordane scheming, you know? Is this all some mastermind plan? But I don't think he's dead to much character development. Yeah, I don't think he's dead. I think that he's going to be captured or some shit. But then my thing is, if he gets captured, what was the point of all of it? Like, what was the point of him getting captured? Like, he's not going to give up where the hearth is. So basically, he's going to get tortured to either Arthur's going to try to rescue him, or Mordane potentially got something schemed up to where this is all part of his plan. But, you know, I guess we just got to wait and see what Mordane's going to do. To me, Chul being half Phoenix and half Jinn has so much potential as a character, learning more about his father and the Jinn, but no, my guy's dead. I mean, yeah, listen, I would just say this. Chul had a lot of potential. The Lances have a lot of potential. But my thing is that it's going to take them too long to maximize that potential. They're getting stronger way too slow. Like, even Chul, like, Chul is still weak, man. Like, I mean, that's kind of like, in the grand scheme of things, when you got people like Arthur, and you got people like Cecilia, you got people like Agrona, you got people like Cordry, you got people like Aldir, you got people like Kezes. He's still too weak to really be a big factor. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he would need to do a lot more development in his power, and I just think that it would take too long, and to where, you know, I don't see this fight lasting for, you know, like, years down the line. Like, I see this all, like, coming to a conclusion, like, within a year is what I'm thinking. Like, within a year. Like, I don't think that we're gonna have another, like, 6-month time skip to where the Lances got stronger, Chul got stronger. No, I think they're getting stronger way too slow. So that's kind of how I see it, you know? So I don't know. I mean, I just think that, I don't know, man. I'm just more intrigued about Mordane and what Mordane is going to do. But I feel you, though, with the wasted potential. I mean, it is wasted. You know, even if he's not dead, it's still wasted with him being in prison and shit. So I don't know. But yeah, I don't see this war lasting for much longer. I think that things are going to kind of ramp up, and we're going to get towards the conclusion within like a year or so. So I don't think that they're going to have enough time to really develop. So that's the only thing I would say. Like I said, it's different with Aldir, because Aldir was already at that level to where, like, a group of race come up against him and he's just fucking them up and not even breaking a sweat doing it, you know? Like, I mean, Aldir was at that level, man. Like, I'm telling you. If Aldir fought against these wraiths, they will all be dead. And Aldir would barely be hurt. That's just how strong he was, man. Silverlight and just the shit that he did with them dragons. I'm just one shot. He would probably just one shot all these wraiths, and they try to run away and leave, and he'll still cut their ass down while they trying to run away. Like, I mean, that's just what would happen, man. He's just too cold. Like, they would need like a team of like 15 wraiths in order to try to take him down, because one team won't be able to do it. But yeah, that's why Aldir was such more bullshit, because it's just like he was already that strong. He already could make such a huge impact, and the motherfucker got the world eater technique. Like, I know he didn't want to use it again, but like he just had so much power and just wiped away. Just crazy. But I'm surprised though. I will say that I'm surprised. I'm surprised by this chapter. I'm surprised that Mordain did what he did and had him rush back. I guess we'll see, man. Whether this actually turns out to be a good thing or a bad thing is really going to determine on what Mordain does. You know, is Mordain this evil mastermind who's been biding his time to set things up for his power play? Is Mordain trying to do something to where, I don't know, but I still don't see how would Mordain benefit from Chul being captured or dead. Like, I don't know. But let me see what else you got to say. So we need at least three horns. I mean, yeah, the horns will give them more mana, but I mean, yeah, the horns will definitely give them more of a power boost. I mean, shit, we need about 3 horns apiece for each lance. So we really need 9 horns, to be honest with you. That's the type of power up they need, because they're still just too weak. I mean, even Arthur is weak right now to face the big guys. He is, but Arthur's growth is so rapid that it's like, just give him a little bit more time and this motherfucker would get there soon. If you give them the same amount of time, they're not getting there. Like, they're just not. So, you know, he's still weaker than Aldir and Cordry and Kezes and Agrona all right now. But him and Cecilia, their rapid growth, like, just give them a couple more months. Like, this motherfucker made a whole nother layer in a couple months. So, I mean, if you give him like another 2-3 months, I mean, think about it. He made that he can make multiple ether blades and control them from a distance. He learned all that shit in the Relic Tombs in what? They were going for like a week or 2 or some shit like that. I don't even know how long they were going with Ellie and them. He learned all that shit back then. And then this motherfucker learns how to stab into the God step, the pathways. He can stab into the fucking pathways and kill people from a distance now. Like, I mean, his level of growth is just like, it's just every few chapters, this motherfucker is just like, oh, now I can do this. Oh, now I can do that. Oh, now I control people's spells and shit. And now I can stop people. Remember, he learned how to do this shit out of nowhere. He can coat other people with his ether and stop Cecilia from being able to suck away their mana. Like, when the fuck did he learn how to do that? Like, it's just, his levels of growth is just crazy. So that's the difference. He just grows at an exponential rate. Everybody else grows at a normal rate. So, you know, just give him a few more months. He'll be fighting with Aldir, fighting with Cordry, fighting with all the big dogs. You know, no problem. But right now, yeah, he's still weaker for sure. He's still weaker right now. I think he'll be able to hold his own for a little bit, but I think ultimately he'll still lose. But he's getting there, man. He's getting there. Like the ether pathways, the God step pathways, that shit is a big ass power boost, because now he can attack from long range. He ain't got to get close anymore, which is exactly what he needed, a long range attack. And so now that he's got that, he's more flexible. Now he need to learn how to fly. But then again, God step is kind of like flying too, because the motherfucker can teleport into the sky. So, I don't know. But anyway, let me see what else she's saying. Nigo's power level is so low right now. Yeah, Nigo's low. If y'all were to see where I got Nico in the power level, let me see. Where do I got Nico in my power level? I still haven't made my video for the power levels yet, but Nico, where's my power levels? Okay. Nico is, okay, and this is not right. This is not right. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. So Nico is at, okay, okay, where's, okay, okay. So here's where I got Nico. I'm gonna just let y'all know. Okay, tell me, you can tell me if you agree or you disagree. So I see, so Michael, you just said Nico's power level is so low right now. Yes. So tell me this. I've got Nico power level, and I got a scale out of 100. So keep that in mind. So I got Nico's power level at a 13. At a 13 out of 100. Okay? Now, in Nico's range, tell me if you agree with this. And Nico's power, because remember, Nico is weaker right now than he was before he got his core fucked up by Arthur. We all got to agree on that. Nico is weaker right now. He's like yellow core, and he's using the staff to try to compensate for him not being able to use mana right now. I don't think he's silver core because I remember Cecilia said that after she finished purifying his core, it was at a murky yellow color. That's what she said. Unless it went up to silver over the time limit. But anyway, I know he's trash. But hear me out, okay? So Nico's at a 13. So I also got Kathleen, Kathleen Glader. I also got Kathleen at a 13. And I also got Enola Frost at a 13. So I consider Nico to be as strong as Kathleen and Enola Frost. But he's weaker than Kara, and he's weaker than Lyra, and he's also weaker than Tessia before she got her body taken over. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with Nico. So Nico is below Tessia before her body got taken over. He's below Kara. He's below Lyra, and he's like right on par with like Kathleen and Enola Frost. But I got Nico slightly above Curtis. Slightly above Curtis. So that's where I got him at. That's where I got him. And I got him above Virion too. I think Nico's stronger than Virion. So that's kind of where I got him at. But what do you say? Tessia was mid stage silver. Yeah. Tessia was like mid silver. She was mid, and she had her plant magic, and she had her beast core. Yeah, so she got I think it was called beast core. Yeah, or beast will. That's what it's called, beast will. She got a beast will. So yeah, Tessia was she wasn't up there, but Tessia was pretty strong. I mean, Tessia was like I said, I got Tessia around the same level as Kara. That's where I got Tessia. So Tessia, before she got her body taken over, I put her on the same level as what Kara is right now. That's the power levels I got. I got her on the same level as Kara. Y'all can tell me if y'all agree or disagree. But yeah, Nico's below. He's low. He's low. So yeah. So that's where Nico's at. But I don't know, man. I want to come out. I want to make the video talking about where I got people on the power level scales, but it's just gonna take a bunch of editing to try to get the names and then the numbers and then have it show up on the screen, and then I gotta like try to voice over it. I don't know. I want to though. Chul and the Lancers need to go train in the orb that Arthur trained in. Yeah, you're talking about the ether orb. I mean, I would think that if Arthur learns more stuff about ether and gets some more god runes, I would think that Arthur could eventually make his own like portal or like world to where he can like bring people in and out to train, and it makes time go by slower. So basically, I think that Arthur could eventually do the same thing that the ether orb could do, but without the actual ether orb. That's what I think that he could potentially do. I mean, because think about it. If the Jinn was able to make an orb that could do that, I mean, it's just the ether art. So why couldn't Arthur do the exact same thing if he learned how to use, especially with his affinity being more towards space. He could probably create his own space where time moves slower in the outside world, and he can do a lot more training. I can see that shit happening. You know, like what was it? The hyperbolic time chamber? Is that what it's called in Dragon Ball Z? So he could do some shit like that. Struhl was stronger than I thought. Yeah. So listen, Chul. I'm gonna tell you where I had Chul on my list. I had Chul stronger than an individual Wraith. The one chick Perhata, I had Chul slightly stronger than her. I had Chul stronger than Ren. I had Chul stronger than Cadell, Dragoth, Ceres, Viessa. I had Chul stronger than all of them. But it's only based off of his... But I don't know, man. I brought Chul down a lot lower after that fight with the what the fuck are they called? The Scythes. I brought Chul down a lot lower after that fight with the Scythes, and so I don't know, man. Like, it's Chul. I got Chul stronger than Ceres, but is he stronger than Ceres? Like, I got him stronger than her, but I don't know. You know, I don't know. But Ceres isn't really that strong if you compare her to the Wraith. So, you know, I'm thinking about that. So, I don't know. But I had Chul at a 30. So, think about that. So, I had Nico at a 13, and I had Chul at a 30. And then Perhata at a 29. Perhata is the one Scythe that, you know, she was like the leader of that one team. So, I got her like slightly below Chul. So... But I don't think Chul is stronger than like Aladari, Orloth, Kyros. I don't think he's stronger than any of them. I don't think Chul is stronger than Tacey back when he got defeated by Arthur. I don't think he's stronger than him. I think Tacey will fuck him up. Honestly, I do. So, I got Tacey actually a lot stronger than Chul, to be honest with you. But I got Tacey slightly below Winsome. That's where I got Tacey. He's slightly below Winsome. But let me see what you're saying. Maybe the relatives' room where they were dying many times. Yeah. They can go back to that place, or Arthur could eventually make his own dimension, you know, some space to where they can train and get stronger that way. Because they need more time to grow. Because they're not growing fast enough. I think he is stronger than Ceres because the Wraiths are supposed to be stronger than the Scythes. Yes. So the Wraiths are supposed to be stronger than the Scythes. So I got the Wraiths. Like the individual Wraiths, I got all of the individual Wraiths 101. They're stronger than the Scythes. Because, and the reason why this got confirmed is because they said that Cadell was worried about Perhata. Or Perhata, how the fuck you say her name. So Cadell was like slightly, you know, intimidated by her too. And if Cadell was a Scythe, and Perhata is just one of the Wraiths, then that means that the individual Wraiths are at least as strong as the Scythes or stronger than them. So yeah. So I got the individual Wraiths pretty high. But yeah, I got Chul stronger than Cadell, Ren, Dragoth, Viessa, Ceres, Melsri, Regis. I also had a hard time figuring out where to put Regis too. Because Regis is strong, but he runs out of stamina too fast. So I had a hard time figuring out where to place him. But yeah, so that's where it goes as far as like the power levels for that. But hopefully I'll make a video talking about it. It'll just probably take some more time. But yeah, but that's about it, man. I mean, I'm mostly surprised by this chapter, but I don't think it was a bad chapter. I thought it was a good chapter. I didn't see it coming. I'm not pissed off about Chul being defeated and ultimately captured. I don't think he's dead, but ultimately I think that we just need to find out what's going on with Mordain. Why did Mordain, send Chul to hurry up and come back? There's no way Mordain didn't know that Cecilia and the rest of them were around in the area. There's no way he didn't know that. So he expected for them to get into a fight. Why did he want him to get into a fight? So I don't know. I don't know. We just need to find. Hopefully, the next chapter we go to Mordain. That would be nice. So that way we can kind of get a conclusion and figure out what the hell is going on. But yeah. But that's it. Oh shit. I almost fucked up my thing. But that's pretty much it for this chapter. We got the next chapter coming out in a couple days, and then Tournament's going on that break. I forget what date the break is supposed to be, but I know it's supposed to be like a 2-week break. So, there's that. Maybe I'll make a video talking about that one book I've been reading, because I finished that whole series, the Court of Thorns and Roses, or whatever the fuck it was called. Let me see what it was called. Yeah, a Court of Thorns and Roses, and a Court of Silver and Flames, and a Court of Wings and Ruin. So I finished that whole series, the whole romance novel, which is my first time reading a romance novel, and they're like, I mean, it's some graphic ass shit, man. I swear, it's graphic as hell. But ultimately that series was solid though. That series was solid. So I'm not sure y'all listen to like the romance shit, but I decided to try it out. You know, it was a lot of hype over it. I'm just like, let me check it out. The first book was whack. The second book was good. The third book was really good. The fourth book was good too. So, but that's how that happened. But yeah. And I'm also reading. Let me also tell you guys this. So I'm reading also the I think it's called Ilona Andrews is the author's name, and it's like the Kate Daniels series. So I'm reading that. That seems to be pretty solid so far too. But yeah, let me read this last comment really quick. Arthur is just too far from the Lance's power right now. It is almost hilarious, but I think Byron is going to be the strongest of the Lances in the future with Tasty's weapon. I don't know. I think that if Byron was going to be the strongest, I think that he will already be the strongest, because he's already had the weapon for a while now. So I think Viray is still going to be the strongest. And I think that Ren or Gideon, one of them, might make the Lances like a weapon, like specifically made for them. And maybe they're already in the process. And so I think that it won't even matter he's got a weapon, because I think that all of them could eventually get a weapon, and Viray still end up being the strongest. That's what I think. I don't think it's a bad chapter. I like it, but I'm just mad because I'm assuming he's not dead, bro. I'm telling you, he's not dead. They didn't say that he was dead. He got his arm cut off, he got his leg cut off. But remember, he used his flames to sear the wound, so that way he wasn't leaking a bunch of blood anymore. He was still fighting even without the arm and the leg. And then he just ran out of mana and he ran to Backlash. He's not dead. If he was dead, they would have said that, all of a sudden everything went dark and my core was pierced from behind and the world went into shadow and I dropped my weapon and I plummeted to the ground. But that's not what happened. All he said was Backlash. Like, they literally let you know Backlash. And then, he ran out of mana. That's all it is. So he's not dead. Chul was the distraction. LOL. Yeah. If Chul was a distraction, the distraction for what though? Like, what? Why? Like, what did he try to do? Like, it don't make sense. He Who Fights with Monsters. He Who Fights with Monsters. Oh yeah, I was recommended He Who Fights with Monsters. Maybe I'll start that. And start recording. Yeah, I'm aware of He Who Fights with Monsters, so maybe I can start that one too. But yeah, man. But anyway, I'm gonna get up out of here. I appreciate y'all coming in though. I appreciate the likes and shit. I always appreciate the likes, and eventually, hopefully I can get to more stories and shit. I mean, if I can introduce y'all to some new stories that y'all might like, that'd be cool. I mean, I know some of y'all introduced me to stories that I might like. I haven't started any of them yet, which is my fault, but I need to start on one of them. At least try out some of them, just see if I like it or not. But yeah, man. So I'll come up with a video probably over the weekend for the next chapter, and so yeah, hopefully we get Mordain. And we see what his plan is, so that way we're not just pissed off about this whole Chul shit. you know, hopefully we get Mordane soon. But other than that, man, I appreciate y'all joining in. Y'all have a good night. I'm about to try to get some sleep. Got a lot of driving to do tomorrow. Peace out.